Like I said, I don't know how many times I've been back to a home because the person said that they didn't know that this was the way it was, or they didn't see the report or whatever it was. I was in a hurry and I was just whatever, Well, you're going to be worried about that later. It's like you're going to regret it later, and then you're going to be looking for somebody to be upset with. But in the scheme of things, you were the person that should have been upset with. You should have never glossed over it and said, oh, it's fine. I just want to buy this house.
A lot of first-time home buyers don't want to rely on the report because I feel like sometimes they want to be there, which they should, right, for the walkthrough to get educated. But then a lot of times they don't know what they're looking at when they're reading these reports. Do you have like an example of a report that you do and you generate and what you try to put on there?
Here's the problem with that. Okay, so that's another problem. I feel that if you're encouraged as a client not to come to the inspection for whatever reason, that is also, again, rather unfortunate because, number one, that's one of the things that needs to be understood. We are not talking about the entire home inspection report when we do a walkthrough. People need to understand that. That's not what happens.
That's going to be another inspection all over again, yeah.
Right? You would be there for 3 hours doing a walkthrough, right?
Come here, Mr. Buyer. Let's go climb the attic.
Yeah, the whole point is to give a very short summary of what actually was going on. That's the idea. I like to do the walkthroughs because I like to give the information to them. I don't know how many times I've gone back later and heard somebody say, well, nobody told me about that.
But I feel like, again, that goes back to what you just saying right there. It goes back to like a pretty good home inspector that is gonna reach out to the client, right, and say, hey, look, inspections on this day at this time, your walkthroughs at this time, can you make it? Right? Some buyers can't make it, and that's where the report comes in, right? So I think the report is just, if not as important as the walkthrough, right? Because it's gonna be way more detailed, right?
Yes.
So that's what I kind of like about your reports is that it's super detailed. Anybody could read that and look at it and be like, oh, okay, yeah, these are all the things that he mentioned, and then if you could do a double whammy and do the walkthrough too and look at the report, now everything's gonna just flow, right? When you're going through the report, you can be like, oh yeah, this is what Charles said. Okay, I remember. Yeah, cool.
I honestly feel that the walkthrough is as important. That's the other thing too. I think that some people like to kind of shield their own clients because they're worried about the way the information is going to be given. But again, that's where it comes into having an inspector that's able to give information in a good, simple way without basically making them feel scared about it, but still giving the information, right? Like you have to, it's all about in the way that you communicate. So they've had so many bad experiences that instead of actually doing this thing that's very important and actually allowing their buyers or trying to make sure there's a schedule, I've had people tell me, no, that's not going to work. My buyer can't come then. Instead of just saying, oh, don't worry about it. You read the report or whatever, that's fine. And especially if you're good at doing that, but there's still a difference in the way that the information is given.
Yeah.
It's given by the person that did the inspection. And the information is given in so much more detail that it's hard to gloss over. Like I said, I don't know how many times I've been back to a home because the person said that they didn't know that this was the way it was, or they didn't see the report or whatever it was. I was in a hurry and I was just whatever, Well, you're gonna be worried about that later. It's like you're gonna regret it later, and then you're gonna be looking for somebody to be upset with. But in the scheme of things, you were the person that should have been upset with. You should have never glossed over it and said, oh, it's fine, I just want to buy this house. You got to do all the right steps when you're doing these, because if you don't, you're gonna miss something and it's gonna bother you later. If you can't be there, at least read through these reports in detail, and then if you have questions, then call the company that did it and ask the questions. It doesn't matter if your agent tells you not to or whatever. This is your house that you're buying, and this is your report.
Yeah, I love going over the home inspection report with my clients because then that's where we get to negotiate, y'all. That's where we can start tearing the house apart and going, hey, look, let's ask for the sellers to do all of this.
Is that like it? Because for me, I go into a house and I get excited when I find things. Do you get excited when you get to negotiate? Is that like a thing for you? Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because then I feel like I want something for my clients. I feel like they didn't need to worry about it. And I felt like, because for me, my goal is I want them to go through a transaction as smoothly as possible. And then at the end of it, they're like, man, everything went by so smooth. Like, there was no drama at all. And then I'm over here going, Oh, there was drama, right? I just didn't tell you about it. You know, like I did all of that already. I shield you from all of that. For me, I feel like whenever I negotiate with another agent about certain repairs and all of that for my clients' behalf, whether it's a seller or a buyer, you know, that I'm representing, I feel like I put their interests at heart. I did what I was supposed to do. I did my duty. For me, it's fun. I mean, you win some, you lose some, but you get to do right by your client. So that's kind of what I love, you know? So like, that's why, again, whenever I get that report from you guys, I'm always hounding you guys going, am I going to get that report today? Or is it tomorrow? You know, and then I go over it with my clients one by one.
This is the perfect example, right? So somebody that's not going to be on a roof, right? You know, you have an option to see some things that you wouldn't have been able to see, right? You can climb up on the roof. You can do whatever you want to do, right? Not during the inspection, though. Don't climb on my ladder. That's unsafe, right? But the idea is that's what we're doing. We're actually taking the time to do the things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do, and to find the things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to find, right? And give you a vantage point that you might not have necessarily had. It's like getting in the areas that you can't or don't want to get into, right? You know,
yeah,
looking into these things, right? Exactly, you know. And then that's the thing that's great about these reports is having that illustration of what's going on with this house, right? And that's why it's important to really go through these things and to really look at them, because if you don't, it's like there's things in here that you need to do. There's things in here that are just, you know, regular maintenance tips that you should follow. But it's like, if you don't, then you're still going to run into the same problems later. You know, how many people want to actually go into their attic and actually get in there when it's hot or cold or whatever? But there's reasons to go in there. There's things that you need to go in there to look at. You know, I was telling you that the first time.
Is that insulation? That's insulation, right?
This is insulation, yes. They had an older type that they had, and then they blew new stuff over the top of it because they wanted a higher R value.
One of these days, we need you to go through a report and tell us the mindset behind when you put the report together. What's going through your head? How do you keep yourself so organized when it comes to all of this?
And it's different, right? So everybody has their own routine. And I know we mentioned this before, where we were talking about whether or not you're getting an old home, you're getting a Victorian style, you're getting a new, 2010 built, you're getting a manufactured home. When you just go into a home and you're looking at things, you have your own, routine of how you're going to inspect a house, right? But when you just go off of this cookie cutter routine that's in a template and you just look at what's going on, you have to also understand that there's things that you don't even know what you're looking at, and you don't even know that that's a problem, then you're not going to call it out, right? Yeah. So when you're walking around, and even if it's the same thing, it's like, why do you hire me, right? So I'm going to go through here and just look at this stuff, and I'm going to look at this, and I didn't even think to look at that. I didn't even know what that was, right? But now you know it's a problem, and now you need to think about it, right? So the idea is there's the routine, there's just the standard way of doing it. You can go through every house. Every house has a bathroom. Every house has a kitchen. Every house has a roof. So there's always those things that you look at. But what about that manufactured home? What types of roofs do those manufactured homes have? What types of crawl spaces? What types of support systems do manufactured homes have in comparison to a regular stick-built home? Are those manufactured homes more prone to? Is there really a foundation on those manufactured homes? What supports the floor? There's so many different things that come into this. And again, without the experience, it's just like having the agent that has the knowledge and the experience. Without that, you're just getting someone that's reading off of a script and looking at, things, but you need to be able to have that. And so the idea for me is when I go in and I'm going off of my standard routine, and I have a problem with this. I hate it. When I go to my friends' houses and stuff, I'll be at a restaurant and I'll be sitting at that table and be like, man, they got some dry rot up there. I'll be looking at the ceiling and be like, man, I'm one of them stains that they must have a leak on the roof, I still remember this day. I was going to tour my son's school. This was about 3 years ago. He was going to a new school, and they did this little walkthrough tour thing. So we went there, and I was walking up. I was like, man, this place is kind of beat up. They got a lot of dry rot on their sign. And I'm like, man, they got a lot. And then when I get in, I'm looking up and I'm just looking, I see these stains on the roof. It's like I'm listening to somebody talk to me while they're presenting their school and everything. And I'm looking, I'm just, sitting in my chair, and I'm kind of just looking and scanning, and I'm seeing these stains, and I'm thinking, man, they got some leaks going on here. brand new school. And I'm like, why is the roof leaking already? They already got leaks here. What's going on? So it's unfortunate. I can't turn it off. It's very difficult for me to just be able to turn off that feeling of looking at things.
That's just who you are.
But it sucks though, because I'll go into a house I'm just my friend's house, and I'm just visiting, and I'm looking around being like, oh man, I love how you redid those carpets. And, oh man, I like how you did that. I'm like, oh, what's up with this though? Because this ain't working right here. What's going on with this?
I know how you feel, man. I go to family gatherings, and I'm like, hey, you looking to buy or sell your home?
Oh man,
it's Thanksgiving, bro. we're here to eat,
Stop
man.
it.
Stop it. It's like, oops, my bad. That's just how it is, man. That's just how it is when you're an owner, you know.
Yeah.
When you have your own business going on, you know. That's all you can think about. But yeah, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about before I close this out?
No, we can definitely talk about a report. You know, talk about more of the details and all that. I know we were kind of getting into some of that today. That's how I like it. You know, when you start to have these conversations, we just get into things and start talking about it. So now we can definitely go over that because I think it would definitely be useful, you know, for a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers to understand what that inspection is going to entail, what you need to prepare for. Some people said, well, I don't need to take all the stuff out of my closet. Well, do you want me to do it? Because you might not like how I do it, right? But then I just won't do it because I don't want to move all your stuff, and then you're going to get upset because I didn't move your stuff. So you got to think about that. What do you need to prepare for? I have my drawers
in that box.
You know, what do you need to prepare for when you know people are going to be coming in and looking at your house, right? When you think, okay, well, I'm just gonna sell my house and I'm gonna have people coming in to look at it, that's cool. But on inspection day, people are really gonna be looking at it. You know, we're gonna be bringing the buyers in and they're gonna look in all the places that we did and we're gonna talk about all this stuff, you know? So just keep that in mind.
You guys can go back and rewatch this video, rewind as many times as you want, share it with your friends and family that's looking to do the same thing. Reach out to me or reach out to an expert that you wanna use in your town and area and see what they think. But other than that, I think I'm gonna close this out, Charles. I'm gonna let everybody go and enjoy the rest of their Friday with their family. But we'll see you guys soon next week. All right, Chi fams, peace out.